whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're going to hurt some people.
Whose car are we going to take?
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the Nikki Medoro Show. Hopefully I'm coming in loud and clear, and I'm here. So we're trying to avoid what happened yesterday. Let's just forget all about the glitches yesterday. I do want to start off my show by thanking our exclusive founding sponsor, Steve Moskowitz, 888 Tax Deal, MoskowitzLLP.com. Please support Steve's business. I know, you might not have tax issues right now, but tax deadlines are fast approaching, and he can help you all year round. All year round is what I meant to say. HR, accounting, all sorts of things. So 888 Tax Deal, MoskowitzLLP.com is the website. I also want to say thank you to a number of viewers. JR, he's one of our viewers. He has been helping me for the past 2 days. Through email, trying to help me through all these glitches. I just want to give JR a big shout out because, I find myself to be a bit tech savvy, but I'm really trying to get a better signal, a better connection. And I just really appreciate you, JR, because you've been helping me. Also, Calvin Wong. I know you guys see him in the chat community. You've been sending me stories. I love all of you guys. I love the community that we've created. I really hope that we can continue this. I'm not trying to sound ominous or anything, but I feel like we're really creating something special together. And as long as money can continue to flow in and I can keep the lights on for myself and hopefully Kim as well, then we will keep it going. So again, visiting our exclusive founding sponsor, mentioning the Nikki Medoro Show would also help, and sharing the show with your family and friends. So on that note, you know what we need to do? Click that thumbs up button. YouTube loves it, so I love it. So let's do that real quickly. Also, speaking of donations, if you want to become a Medorable, part of the Cool Club, please go to the NikkiMedoroShow.com. Our Patreon link is there. You can donate any amount that you want to. I appreciate those of you that have initially donated and then bumped up your monthly donation. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. It makes me feel like I'm actually doing something correct for once. The super chat is also live. You can click on that $sign and donate a super sticker, super comment, super thanks. That helps us out as well, and just goes into the kitty of the money that myself and Kim get to keep the lights on and food in our bellies. And then, of course, PayPal is a popular way to donate as well. The website for PayPal, the Nikki Medoro Show @gmail.com. And then you can get some merchandise at the NikkiMedoroShop.com. Take a little bit of me home with you and help spread the word about the show. So thank you to everybody, and absolutely love you all joining us. So I do want to start off with what today is. Does anybody know? What is today? Tell me in the comments. Does anybody know what special day it is? It's National Pizza Day. Okay, so National Pizza Day is February 9th. I think Pizza Hut, probably Round Table, a bunch of different places should be having some specials. If you love pizza, today is the day. You may be wanting to put off pizza since obviously the Super Bowl is on Sunday. I found this great article of the 85 Super Bowl appetizers that, everybody's going to love. And oh my God, if there was any sort of way, yes, I give the K in Santa Rosa. You were the first one with the correct answer. I'm going to share my screen. This is a good idea. So tomorrow's Friday food. And if you guys participate, then maybe I'll do it. Let's see. If there is something that you see on this list that I should make, maybe we could figure it out together. It can't be too difficult. And it has to be able to be warmed up because I'm not going to cook it first thing in the morning. Maybe. We'll see. Philly cheesesteak sliders. Tell me in the comments, what's your favorite thing to eat, during the big games, during Super Bowl? Is it just appetizers? Do you guys just do appetizers, or do you like make a huge meal? You know, maybe a tri-tip or something like that. I lean on the side of appetizers. I just want to nosh all day long. Probably overeat that way. But let's go through this list because there are some delicious things. So Philly cheesesteak sliders. That looks like Philly cheesesteak ingredients on like Hawaiian rolls. It's lunchtime, baby. Let's get hungry. Buffalo wings. The price of chicken wings, I think, always goes up around this time. This looks good. I'm tempted to make this. Pull apart spinach artichoke football. So it's in the shape of a football. I'm sure, yeah, it's just pizza dough. You fold it over, you kind of cut little lines and twist it. Easy peasy. Loaded French fries. I like the football field dip. That's kind of cute. Sloppy Joe cups. Any Sloppy Joe fans out there? I love Sloppy Joes. Even now, I will eat Sloppy Joes. Bomb. Sheet pan green chili chicken nachos. You know, am I wrong when I say that I like the kind of Velveeta neon orange nacho cheese? I feel like when people try to get too fancy schmancy with the shredded cheese, it's like, well, it doesn't melt as well. I want to dip it. I want a soaked chip with jalapenos on it. Shove it in my face. That's what I like. Let's see. A Rotel dip. That's really easy. Meatball sub egg rolls. So that's just meatballs, cheese, and the egg roll wrapper. That seems pretty easy. Cheesesteak potato skins. Interesting. Ooh. Nashville hot chicken dip. So let's see. I don't know the recipes yet. It looks like just fried chicken bites, pickles, and cheese. Maybe a little hot sauce. Buffalo chicken meatballs. There was one that I saw, chili meatballs. A lot of meatballs. Oh, this one's interesting. Buffalo chicken made into a quesadilla ring. What are you guys making? What are you making on Sunday, if anything? Pigs in the blanket. That's easy peasy. Queso dips. There was one, though. I think it was like cauliflower. Oh, a hot crab dip. Hot crab dip. Bomb diggity. That sounds good. I might make that. Matters. Reuben egg rolls. Do I have any sauerkraut fans at all in the comments right now? Garlic Parmesan wings. I mean, wings and dip. All right. Nachos. See, there we go. Right here. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to see. I need a bunch of jalapenos on it, though. I like me some jalapeno. Cheese straws. Ooh, and we just got an air fryer. It's a hand-me-down. My sister-in-law that lives in Arizona, she sent it home with my in-laws the other day when they came back from Arizona. So I might try something in the air fryer. Crock pot buffalo chicken dip. That looks a little pink slimish to me. I don't know about all that. Pepperoni football. No. Oh, here we go. Oh, no, this is about buffalo chicken. There was one with cauliflower. Where was it? Fried pickles. Total fried pickle fan. Here it is. Honey garlic cauliflower. Now, I'm not going to say this is healthy. I love when anybody says, oh, it's cauliflower, so it's healthy. What did you put around it? But that looks so good. So you guys let me know. I'll go back over the comments right now and see what you guys are liking. Let's see here. Okay. Beer. Let's start at the beginning. Chris writes in, I like beer. I like beer too. Yeah, Nancy's like me. I just graze. No big meals. It's too much. Plus, if you're cooking a meal, then you're not watching the game or the commercials or whatever you're watching it for. Nachos made with ground turkey from John. That's not, I'll be honest. I'm not a huge ground turkey fan. But maybe I'll give it a shot if you think so. I like Nick. Beer, chips and salsa, beer, wings, beer. Okay. Now I drink cocktails. I'm not drinking beer. Since I've given up really drinking beer, anytime I have beer, I feel so heavy. Ooh, go to Jim's house. Afghan lamb skewers, falafels, Vaughn's honey butter chicken. Let's see. Yep, regular nachos. Nancy's with me on that. All right, M. Oak. I got to throw a couple veggies in there. A veggie plate with dip, mini tacos, Pigs in a blanket with hot dogs. Yeah, my husband loves to get the tiny weenies, and get some barbecue sauce and just let it simmer over the stove. You keep it on low. You could just keep it on there all day. No Velveeta for Liz. John writes, I like Bell burgers. Taco Bell stopped making them years ago, so I make my own. Bell burgers. You're gonna have to tell me what it is. I don't know what a Bell burger is, and I'm a Taco Bell fanatic. 1970s nachos from the ballpark. Okay. I don't make pig anything. Oh, you stopped eating pork in the 90s. Thank you, John. A lot of Velveeta soggy chips with jalapenos. Yeah, baby. Ooh, arroz con gandules from Thomas. That sounds delicious. Buffalo chicken tenders from Costco that are on sale. OMG, I saw something. It was like a forbidden hack at Costco. Who likes the chicken bakes? I'll raise my hand for my husband. I don't particularly like them. There's a guy on TikTok. You can Google it. I can't show it or YouTube will knock me. He took a chicken bake and he shoved bun and all a Costco hot dog right inside and then ate it. He said it was a bit bready. No crap. All right, let's see. The Bell beef. I don't know what this Bell beef is. All right. I have no idea. Oh, Jim writes in. Jim Slayton, shout out. I like those frozen meatballs, half a bottle of barbecue sauce, half a bottle of sweet Thai chili sauce. Ooh, I have that sweet Thai chili sauce in my fridge. Maybe I'll try your recipe, Jim. That sounds delicious. Beer and brats from Kim. Yeah, Puerto Rican rice. My mom makes it all the time, Thomas. Buffalo cauliflower, Kim says, is really good. It's one of those things where I see it at a restaurant, and every time I want to order it, my husband's like, nah, just get real. Just get the real meat, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, we'll have to have a yummy food day tomorrow. I'll have to get some appetizers. Knit says, I don't eat meat or dairy, but I don't have a sophisticated taste. I'm fine with crap food. But I won't be watching the game. Yeah, did you see what let me throw this picture up. And Kim, you're gonna feel me on this. Kristen McCaffrey. I hope they both lose on the outcome of the Super Bowl. Hell yeah. People are like, oh, it's petty. No, it's not. I don't want either one to win. I just want a good game. If I watch football, so if my team's not gonna be in it, I might as well get a good game out of it. Ooh, Wes. Shrimp puffs, cheese, mayo, onions, and a can of tiny shrimp baked on English muffins. Wow. And then I guess it's cut into fourths. Is that what that's supposed to mean? That sounds pretty good. I like the little tiny shrimp idea. That's pretty good. Falafel, another one for falafel. Roasted maple sriracha cauliflower is delicious. That sounds... I love cauliflower. Let's welcome Kim McAllister to the show. Kim, happy National Pizza Day.
Hi.
We're talking about Super Bowl foods, and I was going through 85 different appetizers and asking our viewers what they eat during the big game. So tomorrow, I don't know if you want to participate, but I'm going to make something yummy that maybe I'll eat also on Super Bowl Sunday.
Okay.
Come up with your own little appetizer or something you like. I don't know. Do you watch the Super Bowl? Is it not something that you do?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a team from California, then yes. But otherwise, just for the commercials.
You're one of those people. I was watching a video yesterday, in fact, about like the 4 different types of people that are at the Super Bowl. Yeah. One is the huge Patrick Mahomes fan. The other one was the foodie. The other one was the person that hates football and stands in the corner, is criticizing the whole thing. And then what was the last one? It was the foodie. That one. Oh, and the commercial person. You. Mm-hmm. It was the commercial person.
Halftime commercials.
Yeah, like shush. The commercial is on.
I might try to see the halftime and then maybe a few commercials, and then
you have to watch the halftime. Yeah. Always have to watch the halftime.
You know what's great about Super Bowl Sunday is Costco is empty. The supermarkets are empty.
That's true.
Movie
That's
theater
very, very
is
true.
empty. It's a prime time to go do all these wonderful things without crowds.
That's not me. I am watching the game. Although we're not going to watch it here. It was funny. My best friend reached out to me and she was like, so what are your plans for the Super Bowl? Because normally we host. We just host. People come over and we watch the game. And the house, like I've mentioned, I just moved. It is nowhere close to being ready. I am hoping that by Saturday, the house we just left will be empty. And then we can get the cleaners in and do all the stuff to get, because it's very important for me to get that house cleaned out. And then I could finally tackle unpacking something here. I don't have a dresser. I'm living out of boxes. Anybody that's moved knows it's a pain in the ass. So that's my goal. So I don't know where we're going to be. I don't want to go to a bar. I don't want to be paying for my drinks or food all day when I could just make it at home for much cheaper. So we'll have to figure it out. Where are you guys watching the game? Do you guys go out or do you go to a friend's house or do you stay home? Let me also know in the comments because I'm going through all these. I'm getting hungry, Kim McAllister. I'm getting hungry. Let's see.
It's not even Friday yet.
I know, but I'm teasing. I'm teasing everybody.
Is that what's happening?
And it's lunchtime, so I'm always hungry. Nick says Costco has a chicken taco bar. Oh, that's really good. I did not know that. I don't go to Costco. My husband goes to Costco. I don't go. I'm like, you go. I don't want to go. Hawaiian pulled pork sliders. Let's see. Pizza, KFC, and nachos. Yeah, some people just keep it easy. I'm going to order a pizza. I'm going to, just do it that way. I don't have to cook. I just have to throw things away. That's a way to do it.
Do you have a favorite pizza place in the South Bay?
I mean... Okay, so I love the pepperoni pizza at Giorgio's. Giorgio's is, if you know San Jose, it's on Foxworthy. It's really, really good. It's a big pie, though. I like it. If I'm going to go chain-wise, I do like Round Table. I do. I mean, what about you? Do you have a favorite?
We've got this restaurant in Petaluma called Old Chicago Pizza. Ooh. And it's the deep dish.
I don't like deep dish.
They tell you, when you order it, it takes a while to cook it. It's enormous. And it's like this cavern that they just pile toppings in. Huge fan. Love it.
You like the deep dish. See, I like thin. I like New York style thin. No. You could fold it, shove it in your face. That's what I like.
No.
Vilma's so funny. Nikki, are you the type of person that can eat and eat and eat and not gain a pound? I look at food and gain 5 pounds.
Yes, she is, Vilma.
No,
yes, she is.
No, I am.
And I'm the opposite. And she's like this. She can shove it all in and look like that.
That's what he said. No.
That was a good one.
If you could see my butt, that is not true whatsoever.
Oh, please.
No, I'm not gonna. I do like to eat. I don't eat and eat and eat and eat. My eyes are always bigger than my stomach. So I will order all this food. And then, for instance, chicken wings. I'll order like a 10-piece chicken wing and I'll eat like 4 and then I'm done. The key though with that is I always like things spicy. So it slows me down. And that's kind of my little tip.
Pizza My Heart.
Oh yeah, Pizza My Heart's a good one. Oh, Lee, love Giorgio's. Been going there since 1960s. Yeah, Giorgio's is really good. We've been going there since I've lived in San Jose. It's such a good restaurant, and I believe it's technically a change. Lee, you could correct me. I think maybe Tony and Alba's and Giorgio's are connected, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong about that. Let's see. Oh, John. I stopped eating pizza when my doc said I have high cholesterol. Yeah. One of my other best friends in Idaho, she thought she had high cholesterol, right? Doctor has her come in for a blood test. And then they tell, oh no, your cholesterol's fine. So she goes out and has like all this terrible food to celebrate. I was like, that's probably not a good idea. Some like it deep. Yeah.
Yes, Thomas. Yes, I do.
I like it thin. I don't like it thick. I don't like it too bready.
It's bready and delicious. Even the crust has this bread inside and the cheese kind of melts into the so good.
No.
Old Chicago Pizza, Petaluma. That's where it's at.
All right. Well, all right. My weakness is Chinese food too, John. I don't know if I've spoken about this many, many times. I actually, if you check the shorts on my YouTube channel, I made one yesterday about Chinese food. So I went to this, and I will say this. I went to this restaurant, and I'm not going to name it because I'm going to criticize it right now. I went there with my son about 2 months ago, and I got their beef chow mein, and I was blown away. It was so good. The meat was tender. There was a lot of it in chow mein, which sometimes you don't get a lot. And then I ordered it yesterday because I'd been craving it, and it was not the same meat. It was like kind of fried a little bit harder, and so I was very disappointed in it. But I made a little thing. I was like, I need to get chow mein because I've been craving it, and then I needed something else with it, so I got fried rice. Want to talk about a carb heavy day? That was a very carb heavy day, but it was delicious, and I just love Chinese food.
You have a cool shirt on today. It almost looks like
it's a bunch of fists.
Looks
in
like
different colors,
like a bustier made of fists. Huh, look at that.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing me your boobs. Awesome.
It's a heart.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Cool.
Well, if you're gonna look, I'm gonna accentuate them for you, my love. All right. Well, speaking of food, and I hope that this guy isn't. I mean, I'd love it if he was listening, but it's got to be hard. Did you hear about this Silicon Valley developer who has gone on a hunger strike? Okay, this is his. Oh, I have actually a picture of him. I pulled a picture of him. Here he is. Here he is. He is sitting inside Sunnyvale City Hall, in front of like their planning department or development department. Okay. And his name is Navneet Aaron. And he's protesting Sunnyvale's decision to stop construction of 18 townhomes on North Fair Oaks Avenue. Now, this is their first large-scale multifamily project for Aaron Developers, which obviously he owns. But apparently his team forgot to obtain approval from Santa Clara County's Department of Environmental Health. And so he's worried. He's like, this could take months to fix because we know how hard it is with permits and the delays. And it could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in delayed construction costs. So he's decided to go on a hunger strike. Now, this is what it has to deal with. And I'm not saying that I don't feel for this guy, okay? But there are rules. So it all is over a sheet of plastic that is less than an inch thick. It's installed beneath the foundation of the townhomes. It's called a vapor barrier. And what it does is it prevents toxins in the soil from rising as vapor through the foundation and into the home, obviously having some sort of health effect on the people who live there. Mm-hmm. Now, he installed the barriers, but he did not get the Department of Environmental Health to sign off before he did it. Now, the city says they are not going to let work proceed until the county has given the okay. City spokesperson Jennifer Garnett told the Mercury News, developers are ultimately responsible for having a compliant project. The city had to issue a stop work order because Mr. Aaron failed to meet health and safety conditions for the project.
So his staff didn't get the paperwork done in time. And now because the city isn't moving fast enough, he's going on a hunger strike?
Yes, he's going on a hunger strike. Okay. He says costs are racking up. He's paying. Now, this is the thing. I mean, you want to talk about, I'm small business. This is a huge thing. He is paying $15,000 per day in interest on his construction loan. Payroll for the 17 people on his construction team is $25,000 per week. Wow. And then he thinks that they're going to have to start laying off people. Now, of course, I think he's also trying to raise awareness about how long the permitting process takes. He says there was actually some confusion. He says the vapor barrier approval did slip through the cracks, but he said in a 2021 document that lists corrections needed for the development, the city said Aaron needed to obtain county health department approval, but in later documents, the requirement is not mentioned. So, maybe he was checking the checklist of the second one and it wasn't on there. So they're thinking that maybe he dropped the ball. I don't know.
In a one-time show of, okay, we get it. Mm-hmm. Can't somebody just walk out there and check the barrier and sign it? Can't they just do that?
I think
I know he's a pain in
the
ass
message.
And it's his own damn fault, but can't they just get rid of this guy? Just do it.
But then what does that tell every other developer, right? I mean, once you start,
Well, but he's already lost money. So no one wants to put themselves in the position that this guy's in, where he's losing money on his loan and he's now at risk of having to lay people off. No one wants to go there. So I don't think people will do that on purpose, but he's clearly boxed himself into a corner. So just go help the guy out. He needs a little helping hand on this one. Let's move him on.
You're obviously not a government official. You're obviously
it's an easy fix. It's not that big of a deal.
Well, I mean, I think that if you look at all things, it's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? If it's, I have to go out there and I have to sign off on the fact that this barrier is there or that pole is at certain degrees. Yes. Right. But when you add all the development and all the permits and everything that comes in, it's not just one project. This is his project. How many other projects need stuff? What they need to do, obviously, is either hire more people to reduce the amount of time it takes to sign off on these things. And that is what the problem I think he's trying to highlight is. I don't think, and Mindy writes in, and nobody wants to see him die. I feel bad for him. I mean, he's literally said, you see that picture, right? On hunger strike until death.
Just go out there and sign the damn paper. Get that guy off your porch. Done.
Right? I mean, I just feel like the guy needs a GoFundMe. I mean, a GoFundMe for how much? $25,000 a week? $15,000 a day? Are you insane? No GoFundMe is going to be able to raise that much money consistently. Chris thinks he might be a little 5150. I'm like, yeah, I feel for him. And I think that he's highlighting a problem, but at the same time, you can't make special arrangements. Council member Alyssa Cisneros was alarmed by the hunger strike. She met with him. She's looking into the case, but she does support the decision made by city staff. She says, I do have a lot of sympathy and I want him to succeed, but we have to be fair in our permitting process. We can't say, okay, you can make some mistakes and you don't have to deal with the consequences. And I think that's the point. Like there has to be rules. And if you don't follow the rules, sorry, that's your bad, not ours.
Right. It's true. But I mean, one mistake shouldn't bankrupt a company either and have people losing their, getting laid off because of it. I think that there's, they can look at the situation, make a determination and say, all right, what can we do to get you guys back on track? Because the city, especially if they want more housing built, they should want this construction to go forward as well. Don't hamstrung people with red tape. Let's get them moving.
I think a lot of people would agree with you. Now, obviously, you have to pass the environmental laws. We don't want, people living in deadly vapor townhomes, right? But then, like you mentioned, streamlining projects in San Francisco. Next week, Mayor London Breed and Supervisor Shaman Walton will be introducing legislation to create IFDs. That's an infrastructure financing district. So talking about the amount of money. And this would be for a project. It's 2,600 units. It's a waterfront project just south of Pier 70 in San Francisco. So this IFD would allow the developer to raise $150 million to, do the streets, the sidewalks, the seawalls, and provide foundation for a new neighborhood on the waterfront that is supposed to include 800 affordable homes. I love when they say affordable homes. I want to know how much those really cost, but that's always my question.
Affordable to whom?
To Mark Zuckerberg, probably. Once the IFD is created, the developer will be able to borrow against future tax revenues in order to pay for the $400 million in public infrastructure that power station will require. I mean, I get it. They're creating, but doesn't this just sound like more bureaucracy too? I mean, I understand a financing district to kind of get this whole thing going. They've done it before. Apparently, they've done it not just in Potrero. Oh, the Potrero power station, which is what I was just talking about. They've done it at Park Merced, which is a 6,000 unit expansion, a 1,700 unit development at Schlage Lock. I don't know if I'm saying that right. 1,500 units at India Basin and 1,100 units at Balboa Reservoir. So that's where they're thinking these IFDs could also be implemented because they say that it's hard to raise money for new housing in San Francisco. So they're going to create these IFDs. At least they're going to propose the legislation next week. We'll see. We shall see what is happening if that actually happens. Kim has some news. When we come back, though, we'll stay in San Francisco. So remember last week we were talking with the woman from Together SF Action regarding they're not doing enough in San Francisco to crack down on the drug dealing. So right. Mayor Breed and the police have launched a new operation. Apparently they're seeing some results, but then at the same time, they're possibly considering creating a red light district in San Francisco. Let me know what you think in the comments. What do you think? It reminds me of a scene from The Wire, right? If you guys watched The Wire, remember when they consolidated all the drug dealing and crime to like this one like section of the neighborhood? It sounds like that's what they want to do. I'm not quite sure it's going to work. And how would you feel if you were within that boundary? So a red light district and decriminalizing prostitution. It's something that we have talked about before. I'm not quite sure, though, if people either that live in San Francisco or even more importantly in this district, whether it's something that we want or even need. So you guys let me know in the comments. We'll talk about that. Also, please click that thumbs up button. It helps us out. And now here's some news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. President Biden today vowing to protect Social Security and Medicare benefits. While speaking in Tampa, Florida, President Biden taking some jabs today at Republicans that he claims would like to cut those entitlements, naming Florida Senator Rick Scott. He is not backing down from this one. President Biden says Rick Scott has proposed a plan to sunset federal programs, meaning Congress would need to reauthorize them every 5 years. And President Biden is pointing the finger and continues to do so. A federal judge says a plan has to be created so that Sam Bankman-Fried will not be able to delete text messages that could be key to his case. The judge issued the order that requires both prosecutors and the defense to cooperate in the case involving the disgraced founder of FTX. The requirement coming after the same judge didn't provide a reason for rejecting a proposal to modify Sam Bankman-Fried's bail conditions. Former President Trump is back on Facebook and on Instagram. Meta, who owns both media platforms, reinstated them. The company announcing last month it would be ending Trump's suspension in the coming weeks. The latest members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame will be announced tonight. Here's a picture of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Kind of a weird looking structure, isn't it? But yes, so the Dwight Freeney and Darrelle Revis are among those eligible to enter the hall during their first time on the ballot. Other big names who could be inducted include prolific kick returner Devin Hester, top wide receivers Torrey Holt and Reggie Wayne, and defensive player Marcus Ware.
You know what that looks like? It looks like one of those orange juicers.
It really does.
Like you take a gigantic orange or lemon and like just juice it.
I was going to make a phallic joke, but you're right.
I knew you were. Like I'm keeping it PG over here, Kim McAllister.
It does look like a giant orange juice squeezer. Yes. Yeah, it does. It's a weird looking building. I don't know. Okay. So new inductees announced tonight. I don't have a picture of this one, but there's a California restaurant that is electronically upgrading its whole dining experience. This story out of KABC in Los Angeles. Here's what they're doing. ICANN Barbecue Korean Grill in Tustin, California, about 35 miles south of LA or so, is using robots to serve food. The restaurant still has human workers, but 3 robots named Fatima, Elizabeth, and Toga are part of the staff now. The California-based Tough Robotics provided the machines, which can also speak 50 different languages. The owner of the restaurant says he's not replacing his workers, but he admits the robots are never late and they never get tired.
There was I've never gone to a restaurant that has robots, but my friend had posted on Facebook about some sushi restaurant that has a robot. I think it brings you your drinks.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it's clever. It's kind of, it's a novelty, but look, if I need something, I want to talk to a person. It's just like anything else. If I'm having an issue, I don't want to talk to a bot. I don't want a bot to bring me something. I want a human being. That makes sense?
Why? If you're just going to ask for, some more ketchup, please, or could I please get some more soy sauce? What's wrong with the bot?
I guess that's true. If that's all it is. I would just rather have the soy sauce and the ketchup on the table, and then no one has to bring it to me. How about that? Look at that. That's kind of weird, though.
You're taking away a personal touch. You're taking away that that moment where you're interacting with another person. And in this age where everyone's looking down at their cell phones, and we have, so few opportunities to interact with people, or much fewer, it seems like yet again we're taking away jobs and taking away that human interaction.
The human interaction is so true. How do you teach? I mean, I'm sure, Kim, you're an amazing mom, and you make your kids order for themselves, right?
They order for themselves. I make them look at the person in the eye, and I make them say please and thank you. And they know how to treat people with respect. You don't treat a server any different than you treat me in the kitchen serving your dinner, or your dad serving your dinner, is the way it really happens. But yeah, so I feel like, it is a lost opportunity.
Well, yeah, I mean, I tell my kids all the time. So my daughter, sometimes if her order is special, right? If she doesn't want certain things, and then she might be embarrassed. Kind of like if you go to Starbucks and your order is absolutely ridiculous, you'll use the app because you don't want to look like an a-hole. But I make her do it anyway. I go, nope, if you want it, look at them and order. And I say, like, look at them. And they are very polite and they do all those things. But if you have it be a robot, it's just another missed opportunity to teach human beings how to interact with human beings instead of technology.
And it's interesting because I think that's really kind of a key place to teach kids how to have manners and to be polite and to interact with other people. So, for parents, I think it's a bummer that experience would be going away.
Right. I agree.
I don't know. I have one more picture of a robot. I was looking up robot pictures while you are. Let me show you this one.
Okay.
This is a little different. I don't know if it's worth the wait. There you go.
Oh, there you go. I mean, it's just one of those things where, and somebody I think was asking in the comments, what if it spills? Do you unplug her? I mean, what happens if they do something wrong? When a server might spill food or a drink on you, an apology. What does the robot do? Like swat it away? Get something to vacuum it up? I have no idea, but I don't know.
I don't know either.
It is very Jetsons-like. M. Oak says, yes, it's very, very Jetsons-like.
So this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and businesses. If you need help with your taxes, call Steve Moskowitz because we know he's the best. It's 888-TAX-DEAL. It's MoskowitzLLP.com. I'm Kim McAllister on the Nikki Medoro Show.
Yes, please give Steve a call. Tell him the Nikki Medoro Show sent you. Even if you don't think you need him, but you're worried about something, let Steve know. I mean, he might be able to help you. And the great thing about Steve is, and he's mentioned this before, if he can't help you, if it's not that big of a deal, and you could do it yourself, he'll tell you the truth, and he'll tell you things in a way you will understand. And believe me, I know, because we've had many conversations and I don't understand half the stuff. And when I say that, he explains it to me in a way that makes sense. So 888-TAX-DEAL, MoskowitzLLP.com. Okay. So let's get into San Francisco. I was listening to this great, I think the Chronicle put it out. They put out podcasts sometimes instead of articles, which is, just this new, generation that we live in right now. And I was listening to the beginning of it, and they were talking about how San Francisco is the emptiest downtown there is, I think, across the nation. It just has not come back. And they were pointing largely, of course, to the tech industry. Obviously, COVID. A lot of these people left San Francisco and moved to places that were way more affordable. And then there's also just people being fed up with living in San Francisco with the crime, the drug dealing. Like I mentioned before, we had talked last week with Together SF Action. They were calling out San Francisco Mayor London Breed. You know, they closed the Linkage Center. Remember, it was going to supposedly help homeless people off the street. They were allowing drug dealing to just go on. Well,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Exactly. It's nuts. It's nuts what people are allowed to do.
Not that you want to say, well, just go do it, but go do it, you know, behind closed doors, or go do it in an alley behind a dumpster. But to have it out in the daylight in the sidewalk, and it's multiple people, or walking down a BART station, and to see people against a wall and they're all, you know, shooting up in the daylight, it feels like a condoning of it.
Well,
like
yeah.
saying this
well,
is
they
okay.
don't care. Yeah, and obviously the people doing it know there's going to be no consequence.
Right.
That is the problem. I mean, people only do and get away with what they know they can get away with, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's just like parenting, Kim, right? If there's no follow through, if there's no consequence, if there's no punishment, you know, yes, it might make that moment easier for the kids. It's like, fine, go. But then they're just going to go, oh, I can get away with that now. And they're going to do it again, and it's going to be worse. And then you have a problem on your hand. And that's exactly what's happened to San Francisco. So Mayor Breed has launched a police strategy and operation to target drug dealing in the Tenderloin. So on Tuesday of this week, she had this meeting with almost 24 business owners. Now, the press wasn't invited, but the Chronicle was able to talk to some of the people that were there. And they said that the police chief has put more officers trained in narcotics to focus on disrupting the drug markets and arresting people selling drugs. They say about 20 officers are involved in the effort, but we don't know where exactly they're going to be working. The meeting apparently lasted a little more than an hour, and was in response to that community meeting that Together SF Action had recently. Now they are saying that business owners have noticed more officers on the streets over the past week or so, fewer drug dealing hotspots. This is on Eddy, Hyde streets, that area. They don't have the data exactly just for that week because it's not available yet, but they're seeing a marked difference. And so that's good, right?
Yeah.
But we're not surprised by this.
Yeah.
The problem is maintaining it. And that's what I think Breed, the police chief, Together SF Action are well aware of. You can flood a place with police to make a big splash. But then if you can't consistently do it, if we don't have the police officers to maintain it, they're just going to wait you out. They're like, we're going to get into lockdown. We got to kind of hunker down for a little bit. And then once they start to see all the cops kind of moving away again because they just don't have the staffing, guess what's going to happen? It's going to start right back up again.
Or go to some other part of the city where the police presence isn't as robust, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, what is it also surprising then that they are considering possibly creating a red light district in San Francisco? So this is an interesting debate. We had it. I think we also had this debate. I believe we spoke to a prostitute during my show that was on KGO. And we were talking about this idea of legalizing prostitution because there's two kind of main thoughts regarding prostitution. One is that this is the oldest, right? This is the oldest career choice or whatever in our country's history, right? Women have been prostitutes since the country was created, right? And that if we legalize it, if we don't make these women criminals, that they can maybe unionize, they can get benefits. It could be a job that they're choosing to do. The other thought, of course, is that these women are being trafficked by Johns and pimps who are beating the crap out of them, taking their money, and it's dangerous. And nobody wants to see scantily clad women walk in the street or fights between pimps and Johns and their prostitutes, right? What is the answer here, though? Is it creating a district where, okay, between these lines, you can do it?
I have a question, though. I thought that it was a state law because in Las Vegas, prostitution is legal. And I'm not sure if it's legal in just some spots, if that's a city ordinance that makes it legal, or if it's a state law. And so I wonder, can San Francisco make prostitution legal, or do they have to go through some type of state process in order to do that?
Well, according to Hillary Ronan's chief of staff, Santiago Lerma, who was being interviewed by ABC7, they want to create a sanctioned red light district and push the legislature of the state to legalize sex trade in California. They say it would regulate the trade. It would keep people
in the whole state in California.
Well, they would have to do that. I would imagine.
Yeah.
Now, I'm wondering, and again, there's been no proposal right now, so forgive me that I don't have a lot of details. There's no specific proposal, but some people are saying have perhaps a city-sanctioned red light district. And the only thing that I could think of, and again, just without details of a proposal, the safe injection sites, right? So if the city allows it in a certain area, maybe not all the way across the state is it sanctioned, but maybe here. That's where my mind is going when they talk about something being sanctioned.
I have questions.
Yes.
So if the city sanctions something,
Mm-hmm.
does that mean the city is responsible for making sure that pimps aren't involved, that women aren't getting beaten up or mistreated, that there's no drugs flowing in that area, that, I don't know, that it's safe, that women aren't going to get sexually transmitted diseases? And does that open up the city then for all kinds of legal ramifications if that stuff doesn't happen? What if some woman comes out, 5 years later and says, in the city sanctioned area, I was, beaten by a John, or I was repeatedly attacked by my pimp, and now the city's got to pay out money to this person? I feel like that could, depending on how it's done, put the city of San Francisco in a bad spot.
Well, I would say that, and again, we need more details. We need an actual proposal. But I would say crimes are still crimes. If you decriminalize prostitution, then the women that are prostitutes would not be arrested. But if you're beating somebody up, if you're drug dealing, if you're hurting somebody, those are still crimes. So even if it happens, let's just say, if this red light district was created, you could still arrest those people and still not arrest perhaps the women that are prostituting.
So if it's the city sanctioned area, does the city have to run it then and employ the prostitutes?
That's a good question.
Treat them like city workers to make sure that it's being done on the up and up?
I don't know. I mean, there's no proposal. It is just an idea. And again, there ABC7, and you guys, you just have to look for it. They did like a 9-minute video, and I would show you it, but it's really, really long. But this was in Oakland, and how there are prostitutes right across, I think it's St. Anthony's school. I mean, these little kids are just coming out of school, and I mean, they were blurring out the faces and everything of these prostitutes. I mean, wearing very suggestive clothing. Right. Yes, okay. And, I don't want to shame people, but yes, you understand what a prostitute wears. And it's raw daylight. It's 2:00 in the freaking afternoon.
You're dressed like a hooker.
Yeah, you're dressed like a hooker. And it's shocking. I mean, and I love the reporter. I forget which, I think it might have been Luz Peña or one of them. She goes up to these women, and I give her props because I don't know if I would have the balls to do it at all. And she's like, I'm just wondering what you're doing. And the woman had just come from a liquor store, so she had like snacks. She's like, I'm getting snacks. And then she's like, no, but what were you saying to that guy in the car? And she's like, we were just talking about my snacks. I was like,
yeah, right.
I don't mean to laugh, but it was very ballsy for the reporter to kind of be like, what do you think I'm doing?
Well, Luz Peña is awesome. She's
I think it might have been her.
Yeah,
but it was so. Yeah. I remember I did a series when I was in Sacramento on human sex trafficking, and there was this one like kind of motel kind of strip, which was a funneling. Like kids would come out of, teenage girls would come out of kind of housing because they've run away or whatever, and it funneled right past this motel where the pimps and the Johns would grab them and put them to work. And I remember they did this huge bust, which is what happened. So I did this whole thing on human sex trafficking. I talked to a former prostitute. I talked to a mom whose daughter had been basically, she had special needs and had been basically kidnapped and taken, I think 100 miles away from her home and trafficked. And it was so eye-opening. But I remember I was standing in front of this motel and I'm trying to get just like Luz Pena or whoever the ABC7 reporter was, to talk to him. And they're just like looking through their windows, and there was no way in hell I was going to be knocking on anybody's door. I didn't know what was on the other side, and I was not that brave of a reporter all by myself, because this wasn't TV. You're out there on your own.
Yeah, that's true. Radio reporters are like,
yeah, if I had a cameraman, maybe, but not by myself. But I remember how scared I was, and just imagining that this is the life of a lot of these sometimes very young women doing these things. I don't know if a red light district is really going to make these women safer. I do like to have the debate about legalizing prostitution, simply because, not that it's the same, but kind of when you think about drugs, once you legalize something and you take it out from the shadows, you make it so everybody could see it. And then people maybe aren't victimized, aren't, in a way. I mean, again, some people say any sort of prostitution is victimization. Any type of prostitution is human trafficking. It's a tough one to know, who do you defend in that situation? Because on one hand, if the women are making a conscious choice to do this, are they not allowed to? On the other hand, we know how dark and brutal and violent this can be.
Well, as you say, it's the world's oldest profession, right?
Right. There you
So
go.
it's going to happen in a city like San Francisco, with dark nooks and crannies everywhere. It's going to happen. So I guess the question would be, can the city of San Francisco make it safer, since we know it's going on? Or, should it be something that, like the drug trade, we don't let out and see the light of day?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer, because I don't know how the city can make sure that these women are or are not being exploited, and that all of them are of age and truly making the decision to
like,
be
what do you get? Like
in this
do you get
job.
like a lanyard? Like,
I'm legal and I'm all right. I'm okay.
Yeah. I love this exchange though, Kim. So Karen asks, so politicians and hoes, two worlds collide. How will we tell one from the other? And then Trevor writes, it's simple. Hard, no, Trevor writes, it's simple. One has no morals whatsoever and will do literally anything for the right amount of money. And the other one is a sex worker. So very true, Trevor. So very, very true. So we'll keep an eye on it. Again, a proposal has to be put forth so we know exactly what we're talking about here, and what sanctioned actually means. But at a time when you're trying to reduce crime and within the city, and you want to change the image of this just being a cesspool of homeless drug addicts all over the street, which is what people think of right now when they think of San Francisco, is even having a conversation about a red light district the right one? So I don't know about that. Okay, I do want to just tease this topic, and we'll get into it a little bit, because, okay, full disclosure, my daughter comes home from school. She wasn't at school yesterday because she wasn't feeling well, and so I kept her home, and she comes into the kitchen, and she's like, of course, when I'm not at school, there's a fight, right? And I go, a fight? Oh. And it wasn't really a fight. It was like somebody pulled somebody's hair, which is fine. I mean, not that it's fine, but it wasn't this.
Wait, that's not okay.
That's not okay. But it's not this. So did you hear what happened at Pleasanton Middle School? I'm going to show you the picture. And so this is a screenshot of two girls fighting and one girl stomping on the head of another student. Okay. Now, this was not actually on school grounds, although they've identified the girls as being part of Pleasanton Middle School, by the way, middle school. And apparently a lot of parents are upset about this.
Well, yeah.
So they're saying that Pleasanton Middle School is not doing enough to protect their kids. This actually happened outside Pleasanton Public Library.
Is this where your kids go to school?
Well, I don't live in Pleasanton, so no.
Okay.
I was just bringing it up as, hearing your kid talk about fights at school.
I wonder if that girl who had her head stomped on is okay.
So she is okay. Apparently they can't release obviously the names. She was, I think, taken to the hospital, but there hasn't been an update, but I don't think like she died or anything like that. But parents are calling on the city of Pleasanton to do more to protect children against violent bullying. It's this fight and the fact that it was caught on video and then shared has a lot of parents up in arms. One parent, that's name is Giselle Belikoff, says the school hasn't done enough. She says her daughter walks on eggshells. Parents say that this is common at the middle school. Now, I keep emphasizing middle school because of the age that we're talking about. The suspension rate at Pleasanton Middle School is more than double of the district. The school recorded the second highest number of suspensions, and that's only surpassed by an alternative school for students who've had trouble in other environments.
What is happening at this school? Like what? Wow.
Okay, so here's my question. This is the reason why I bring it up. Who is responsible for students' behavior? And is it reasonable to think that a school can stop fights from happening preemptively? Obviously, if the fight is underway, get in there and stop it. But what can schools do? Should schools or should the parents be responsible when fights happen? And I kept thinking of sideshows. Should people that watch and videotape and don't do anything about it also be held accountable?
Yes.
So if your daughter, if Julie is at school and there's a fight and she's just standing around watching, do you think she should get in trouble?
Yes, she should be running for help.
Yeah.
She should be flagging down someone from the office saying, you guys got a problem.
Right. Exactly.
Meanwhile, I believe that if this school has the most suspensions and expulsions or what have you, they know they have a problem.
Yeah.
And so they need to have volunteers, staff from the school district, I don't care who, superintendent, him or herself, out there, in the lunch area and the cafeteria, standing by the restrooms, making sure that kids are safe. That's an environment I wouldn't send my child to.
So, I mean, the fact that they have a lot of suspensions means that there is punishment, right? They're obviously punishing kids for whatever behavior is worthy of a suspension. What more can they do? Because I also think the parents have a role in this. Just as you said, you would tell Julia, and you've taught your daughter, you run for help. You don't stand there and gawk, even if you're not participating in it. But I feel like there's also this abdication of responsibility sometimes where it's like, well, what are the schools doing? What the hell are you doing?
Right.
Are you sitting your kid down at night and having conversations about these sorts of things? Are you saying, you don't put your hands on people, you contact an adult or the principal? Do you tell your child, if there is something happening on campus, you better tell somebody? Standing there and watching is not the answer. You might think it's funny, because that's what they were saying, is that apparently one parent was quoted as saying, there's so many aspects of how disturbing this is regarding the video of the altercation. It's the kids. It's this girl attacking. It's the dozens of kids that are high-fiving, cheering her on, videotaping. It's so disturbing. Yeah, and Joe's right. Everyone's just filming. I feel like if you start at least giving out detentions that can lead to suspensions to people that are watching the fight, that will send a message throughout the school of, I'm not going to watch. I'm not going to be part of it. Now, again, this happened outside the Pleasanton library, but apparently the school is responsible for the students' behavior from the moment they leave the school until they get home. And the library is right across the street from the middle school.
That's very interesting, because there was recently word of scuttlebutt of a fight between 6th graders at this K through 8th school that my children attend. The fight was supposed to go down behind Target
at 3 o'clock.
At 3 o'clock, high 3 o'clock, right behind Target. And so the Target is across the street in a shopping area across the way from the school down the road. But the school, a parent who was informed that this fight was going to happen, called the school and said, these kids looks like they're planning some type of, a
fight.
Yeah. Face off, whatnot. And the school called the police. so the police could do this
Oh,
because it was off campus. So they
right.
didn't send school staff, I don't believe, to handle this. They sent police officers because it wasn't on the school campus. So that's interesting that the
Yeah.
school is still responsible.
According to the Pleasanton Weekly, Pleasanton Middle School administrators are also investigating as the school has jurisdiction over their students from the time they leave school until they get home. The city library is across the street from the middle school. So I think that also the proximity of it. I mean, obviously, if they're 5 miles away and never went home, I doubt that they would still be responsible. But literally walking across the street and getting into a fight, hell yeah, the school needs to look into it.
Yeah.
Karen writes in LA, there are parents who go to school. They're mainly men who police the kids. They stand around and the kids note their parents, dads, are there to stop fighting and bullying. I think I remember, I don't know if it was the same story of a school that did that. But again, that's privilege of being able to have enough dads or any dads or parents to do it.
Why does it seem like a prison yard? When did school become this? You know, you got to send parents to school to break up fights.
I mean, I think fights have always happened. And that was the other question. I mean, it's nothing new. We've always heard, we make jokes about it. High noon, you know, we're going to tussle, we're going to fight. I mean, generations have had fighting. It's not that. I think it's the videos. I think it's those sorts of things that are bringing it to more people's attention. And I also think that kids are angry or they want to do things for videos and likes and shares and things like that. People don't, I think, know how to take also, possibly, my opinion, don't know how to take an insult, you know, right? Oh my God, you insulted me. We must fight about it. Or you could just let it go. You can say something smart back and walk away. Not everything has to be dealt with so physically.
Julia says she goes to a K through 8, as I mentioned, but there is a junior high in Petaluma. And the thing is, I don't know if it's a new thing, but the thing in this grade is the kids say that I'm going to jump you, like being jumped.
Right. Yeah.
That's how a fight begins. Like you're going to get jumped, whatever. And so she's like, Mom, if I had gone to the main junior high, I would probably get jumped. And I would have to jump people. And I had to explain to her, and this might be an old school thought, but I said, no, we don't get involved in that. There's no being jumped or jumping others.
Yes.
This is tacky. Girls don't do that. We don't do the jumping. There's none of that. This is a tacky situation, and you are not a tacky girl, and we're not going to do the jumping.
There you go.
So I don't know if that's like my mom. It was my mom's words that spewed forth from my mouth.
That's usually what happens. I asked my daughter last night when she was telling me, I was like, you would never, kind of the same, like you would never. And my daughter's like, oh no, I'm the biggest chicken ever. I'll just run away. I was like, damn straight. I mean, I in my entire life, I have thrown one punch in my life.
Really? Who did you hit?
Some stranger. Literally. It's a stupid story. I got literally, it happened in the span of a traffic light. It was like in the middle of traffic. I was a kid. I was in high school. It was in the middle of traffic. It literally happened in the span of a red light to green light. And I'm happy that happened because I would have lost that fight so badly. But yeah, I got one punch in, she got one punch in, and it could have gone really, really badly, but we all took off. So
man.
Yeah, I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover. I fight with words, you know. I have a sharp tongue. So I would much prefer to cut you down with my words than to ever throw hands. That's just not me at all. So yeah, so no fighting. And talk to your kid. But again, when you guys can let me know in the comments, I'll read some more of them when we come back after Kim's news. But who's more responsible here? I feel like there is also a failure of the parenting and the conversations that need to happen more than once. They need to happen more than when you hear about a fight happening all of the time. What do you say when X says that to you and gets you all upset? Are you immediately like, meet me at high 3? Or do you have some other way of dealing with it? And how did you deal with it when you were a kid? So you can let me know in the comments. Also, speaking about getting hot and bothered, did you hear about this California man who won a DUI case on a weird defense? It's the angry woman defense. Now, I call BS. I call sexism. I call all sorts of things. So we'll get into that. Gavin Newsom, our governor, is all mad. Melanie Lynskey, you'll know her from Yellow Jackets. She's also in The Last of Us. She got hot and bothered by what a former America's Next Top Model said. So we'll get into all of that. Again, click the thumbs up button. YouTube loves it, which means we love it. I'll get some shout outs to those of you who have donated to our super chat, super likes, everything like that. We absolutely love it. But first, let's take a look at some headlines.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. It's a big situation continues right now in San Francisco. This is a massive fire, 3-alarmer. It happened after a gas explosion, and this situation still said to be active out in the Sunset neighborhood in San Francisco on 22nd. The San Francisco Fire Department says they got a lot of 911 calls about this one at 9:30 this morning after a powerful blast knocked a house off its foundation on 22nd Avenue between Noriega and Moraga Streets. That single-family home has since collapsed. You can see it there on your screen. It just caved in. It's a done for situation. The neighboring homes also damaged. They had blown out windows. One person is being treated for severe burns. 2 firefighters suffered some minor injuries. Both are stable now. Fire crews say it's the biggest explosion that they've had to handle since the 1990s. So not sure what happened in that house. Was it some type of gas leak? Was it a hashish oil situation? They don't know what happened there. And so the investigation will be ongoing. But look at that house. It just poof, done. The Chinese spy balloon that that was shot down, resulted in the shooting down of the balloon off the coast of South Carolina last weekend, is now apparently causing some new concerns about a balloon that was spotted off the coast of Hawaii last year. That balloon that was spotted last Valentine's Day prompted the U.S. military to scramble F-22 fighter jets. 2 days later, the Hawaii National Guard commander said the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command detected a high-altitude object floating in the air in the vicinity of the Hawaiian Islands, and they sent an aircraft to intercept it. Not the first time we've shot down one of these balloons. There is a man facing now nearly 6 years in prison. Why? Look at him, carrying a Confederate flag during the Capitol riot. Prosecutors want a judge to sentence Kevin Seafried to that amount of time behind bars. Lawyers for the Delaware man would like him to spend just 1 year locked up. A new restaurant will soon be taking over the empty space out at the Cliff House. It was once the Cliff House, I should say, in late 2020. The National Park Service confirming that a vendor is signing a new lease to operate in the shuttered spot, as well as a cafe at nearby Land's End Visitor Center. The park's reps can't reveal who the new restaurateur is, but they promise to make an official announcement in the coming months. And SpaceX will attempt to test fire all 33 rockets engines on its super heavy rocket booster in South Texas later today. That's going to be really loud. The president of the company announced the test yesterday during an FAA conference in Washington, D.C. It'll be the first time the company has attempted to fire all 33 engines on the rocket. Whew. And Netflix will be rolling out new password sharing rules in different countries. So you've heard about this. They're going to be cracking down on this whole password sharing back and forth thing. The streaming giant announcing yesterday it is rolling out the rules in Canada, New Zealand, Portugal, and Spain. The account owner would need to set a primary location, but would still be able to watch on their account when they travel. Previously, Netflix said it would verify that account users are part of the same household through IP addresses and device IDs. After public blowback, the company quickly did away with that policy. So now it looks like they'll probably have to send you a code if you're logging in from somewhere else, and then you'll input that code. And yeah,
it's a pain in the butt. They're going to make it where you are bothering the payer of the account. So they're going to be like, get off my crap, right? Like, or hand me some money. But isn't it, and I'm sorry if you just mentioned it, like for instance, let's just say I was borrowing somebody's Netflix account. Isn't it where like you can add people outside of your house for like a couple bucks extra?
I don't know how much it is. I have to check it out.
I thought it was like maybe $2 or $3, which isn't bad. But I mean,
that
it would
means
require
I
you
could add
paying
you.
something.
I could add
That's
you to
what
my
I
Netflix
think.
account for $2.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's totally worth it.
I mean, again, it's paying. I would just pay somebody for the year and figure out how much it is for a year, and then just come back at me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to pay you. But yeah, can't we all just share one account and then the whole world just pay one bill? It's expensive. I have cut the cord yesterday, just to quickly tell the quick story. So last night I had my first experience of missing my DirecTV because I had all my shows recorded.
Yeah.
So don't judge me. I watch MTV still, and I watched this thing called The Challenge. Do you ever watch The Challenge? Anyways, the finale's happening, and I was like, and it's a show that my husband and I watch together. We have fun watching it, and so all of a sudden I'm like, oh shoot. And so I'm Googling it, and I have Hulu Plus. I finally found it, and I was able to watch it, and I was stoked. But the thing is, because I didn't record it, I recorded next week's, but because I didn't record this one, I had to watch all the commercials. And I could just feel my being like, so we can't fast forward, can we? And I'm like, no, but if we were watching this live, we wouldn't be able to either. So yeah, it was definitely one of those moments where I could tell it's going to be a bit of an adjustment, but the money that I'm saving is going to make it worth it. That's what I think.
It's worth watching those spots. Plus, you can get up and go do stuff again.
Exactly. And he farts around on his phone. That's what I told him. Like, this is the fart around on your phone time. So instead of missing part of the show, you could fart around on your email, Facebook, whatever. So yeah. That works out. Like
go to the restroom, do the laundry, look at your phone, chill out. It's worth
another
$120
cocktail,
a month to me.
Have some tea, do something like that. Exactly. There you go.
This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. So if you need help with your taxes, Steve Moskowitz truly is the one to help you out. He's at 888-TAX-DEAL. He's also at MoskowitzLLP.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
All right, this is the second half of the Nikki Medoro Show. Thank you to everybody that has been tuning in. Please click the thumbs up button. Right now, just click it once. You don't need to click it a million times. It does nothing else to make sure you don't turn it off. We want that thumbs up to stay there. Please consider donating to our Patreon. How you find the link, just go to thenikkimedoroshow.com, and it's really easy peasy to do that. Let me give some shout outs to those that have been donating to our super chat, which is live. Lee, who we were talking about, Giorgio's Pizza, Lee donated $20 to the show. Thank you, Lee. I really appreciate you too. Lee says, we appreciate your show, have become regular viewers since you left KGO. You and Kim are great together. Aw, we love you. And Jim Slayton, who we adore, $5 donation. I'm happy as Karate Carl today. All right, love it. Yeah, you can donate to our super chat. It is live. You just look for the $sign, and that's the way that you can do it. Our PayPal is up, thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. We have merchandise for sale at thenikkimedoroshop.com as well.
We really appreciate all the help and all the support and the love, because it means you like what we're doing, and we couldn't be happier.
Absolutely. And again, please give Steve Moskowitz a call, 888-TAX-DEAL, MoskowitzLLP.com. Let him know that the Nikki Medoro Show sent you also. But get any of your tax, HR, accounting needs, he does it all at Moskowitz LLP. Okay. I thought I've heard a lot in my life. I mean, Kim, we've been in the news for a very long time. We've read some pretty interesting headlines in our time. Yes. I mean, there are some very, very surprising ones, but I don't think I have ever read a headline quite like this. California man won a DUI case with a unique defense. It's better to drive drunk than face two angry women. It's a Ukiah man who was found by a jury. Now, a jury did this. Not guilty of driving under the influence after deciding that his actions were justified because he was caught cheating on his wife, which made his driving necessary to allow him to escape two angry women. Thoughts? Now, I understand.
Dirty little drunken coward.
I mean, but for a jury to say, all right, I get it, seems sexist to me. It's like, I get it, man. You don't want to be listening to that nonsense. You don't want to, face the music for being a rotten, cheating liar. Sure, go drive drunk. Put innocent people's lives at risk. It's okay, because God forbid you should just have to sit there and listen to two angry women rip you a new butthole because you cheated.
Hey, I have a really good idea. Don't cheat on your wife.
There you go.
And then she won't be angry. And also don't drink. And then you won't have to get the DUI. Now, see, if you were trying to escape, but you were sober, you wouldn't have gotten the DUI. So maybe you should watch yourself. That's ridiculous.
I mean, I was just absolutely shocked that a jury would say, yeah, it's okay. Now, I mean, and just this is going obviously a bit further, but what kind of precedent does this set? I mean, you could say this for all sorts of things. Well, there was somebody there and I just had to take off. This Ukiah man won because of it. I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
There should be no reason for driving drunk. You shouldn't be able to have a defense for it at all. But I love this this part of the story. Testimony was presented that the defendant, quote, had been caught in flagrante delicto by his wife, and his driving was necessary to allow him to escape two angry women.
Oh my God.
While fleeing the scene, he was pulled over by an officer. His blood alcohol content was over 0.08%.
That's crazy. I mean, please don't cheat on your wife. Don't have two girlfriends. Don't do something like that. That seems really easy for people with some, moral code to do.
Using the necessity defense, which is what it is, has to prove factors, including he acted in an emergency to prevent significant bodily harm or evil to himself or someone else. Again, coward.
Right.
Number 2, he had no adequate legal alternative. And number 3, the defendant's driving under the influence didn't create a greater danger than the one he avoided.
Bull. I mean, how could they even prove something like that? Yeah. I wonder how, does it say in the article, because it didn't say it in mine, what his actual blood alcohol level was? Because, that should also be taken into account. If he's like twice the legal limit, no way. But yeah, obviously. So Super Mike writes in, were they axe-wielding women? Now, I will give you this. If I am chasing you with an axe, okay, you can hop in the car and try to drive away. But if I'm just yelling at you because I'm angry, no, chicken. You stand there. You accept your tongue lashing.
Don't you think he put himself in the situation?
Yes, obviously.
He cheated on his wife and was caught in the act, clearly, in the middle of it all. So he had an angry mistress and an angry wife at the same time. So you put yourself in that spot. And you were drunk, so you put yourself in that spot. Whose fault is it? But your own, pal.
I swear to God, if I was that woman, I would have bionic legs to chase him in his car to beat the crap out of him if he tried to take off. I can't even imagine. Oh, look at this. Tim writes in, as a former firefighter, I have the sad experience of dealing with the deadly aftermath of drunk driving. Seeing bodies all over the roadway is something I will never unsee in my mind. I am with you. When I was a reporter, I'll never forget it. I had to cover an accident and we arrived before they were able to take the body away. And it's I've even seen it in my own personal life. A guy got hit by a car. I pulled over and, I was literally by his side as he was dying. It's nothing that you forget. And it's nothing to be, we're laughing about it because we're calling him a chicken, but God forbid something happened. And again, the precedent that this sets for other people are like, those crazy women, they're really angry. I got to get away, no matter if I am drinking. What an ass.
There is no necessity defense.
Exactly. Pissed off. You did this in your news, didn't you?
Which one?
Maybe it was during Mark's show. Gavin Newsom.
This is a good one.
Did you hear him go off? Yeah. Okay, so Gavin Newsom. So remember yesterday we were talking about the tech collusion hearing? The social media platforms, Twitter, all those, about how they're colluding with the deep state and Democrats, even though it's complete BS. But anyways, Gavin Newsom was on with David Axelrod on the Axe Files, the podcast. Let me share my screen. I have the sound of it. Here we go. And he was talking about, his concern regarding social media platforms and things like this. And he had some, and I'm just going to warn you, a bit of a potty mouth when he's talking. Oh, hold on, Gavin. There you go.
I got bigger problem, not with the platforms. I have bigger problem with the people that are creating the content for these platforms and the networks that should be curating, that are not curating, that are expressing themselves similarly, not dissimilarly, these platforms, and weaponizing grievance and dividing this country. And yeah, I'm calling out the Murdochs and Fox. Yes, I'm calling out these platforms. Yes, I'm calling out Jesse Waters. What a joke that guy is. I mean, Papa Pauly. Listen to what he was talking about before Paul Pelosi was almost killed. Listen to the way they demean people, talk down to people. They create characters, cartoon characters. Look at what this guy Tucker Carlson does every single night, the racial priming. These folks need to be called out by name. Mm-hmm. This is a serious moment in history, and people need to be a hell of a lot more serious about it, and Democrats need to wake up and not be on the damn off defense on all this stuff and playing into this crap that's coming from these red states, and get back and wake up to what's happening. They're winning 25, 26 states, rolling back half a century of progress in real time, and we're not damn focused on it. We're focused on all this other shit and crap that's on the other national screens. Meanwhile, these other guys are running the tables. Forgive my language.
No.
Intense, but
you promised me that we'd get there, and we're right at the end of the podcast, and you.
Yeah, I just think that he's right, though. We're not focused on calling these people out by name.
Yeah.
And also describing people like Tucker Carlson for what they are. I mean, they antagonize, they race bait, they do all of these things. And I'm glad that Newsom is doing it. I don't believe that Gavin Newsom is going to run for president in 2024. I do not. Anybody that says that, I think is full of it. But I will say, I like the way he talks. I like the way he calls out his own party. I really do. It's time for us to get angry in an appropriate manner, of course, and call these people out, because we cannot win. And I don't want this to come off the wrong way. We can't win with kindness in this kind of battle. Republicans are not being nice. They are using terms and phrases to do these dog whistles to certain people in their base. They use Fox News as a mouthpiece that gets into American homes and convince them of this nonsense. It's absolutely ridiculous. And we are losing our rights. Gavin Newsom is right. Did you see this article also? And I'm actually, ironically finding this on Fox News. Pro-choice activists angry at President Biden's very brief statement on abortion in his State of the Union address. This is what he told the crowd. The president said, quote, "The vice president and I are doing everything we can to protect access to reproductive health care and safeguard patient privacy. But already more than a dozen states are enforcing extreme abortion bans. Congress must restore the right the Supreme Court took away last year and codify Roe v. Wade to protect every woman's constitutional right to choose. Make no mistake, if Congress passes a national abortion ban, I will veto it." But pro-choice people are saying that's not enough, that we need to do more. People are going to die. Women are going to have, I don't know, back alley abortions, but they're going to do something. Karen writes, I agree, Nikki. When they go low, we got to go lower. So I disagree with Mrs. Obama, because you've got to go toe to toe. So I agree with you and I don't agree with you, right? I mean, I think it's a case by case basis. I think that what Gavin Newsom is talking about is, yes, not playing nice, but also, I don't want to be in like the insurrectionist mud with these people, right? I want to fight them by calling them out, by describing them a certain way with words and with action, with protests, lawful protests, not insurrections or anything like that. I did get this message, and Kim, you would know more about this than I would, of course, because you do the news on Mark Thompson's show. I received a message before this show. It was from one of our viewers that obviously watches both. Said that David Katz apparently was on the show today. And she wanted to clarify, because apparently David Katz may have misspoke about the two pills that are used by women.
Yeah, he was talking about the morning after pill, I believe, is what he was talking
Yes.
about, versus the abortion pill.
Which are two different pills. And so she just made a message to me that she wanted to kind of clarify. There is the morning after pill is literally like in the name, and it kind of prevents a pregnancy from taking place. The abortion pill is also in the name, and it is what is used to induce an abortion. So I had said I would clarify that. And
it's interesting because she's right. He did say morning after pill, but what he was describing was more the abortion pill. Yeah.
And they're two totally different things. The morning after pill is not an abortion pill.
No, it prevents a zygote from even attaching to you.
Exactly. So you are not pregnant. And there is a difference because, again, it's a way of preventing something that you don't want to happen. And there should be nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with taking an abortion pill if that's what you want to take as well. And yet in so many different states across the country, the number may be growing. Women won't have access to it. And we're becoming less united. And I totally understand why Gavin Newsom is pissed off.
By the way, the story is abortion pill, not morning after pill. So this is a rogue Texas judge that could ban abortion pills nationally. So thank you for the correction, and glad we got that out there.
And I'm not going to try to call David Katz out either as an example.
No.
I'm sure he just misspoke, but I will say this, and I'm not trying to lump Katz in, but again, and I'm not saying he doesn't even know, he might have just misspoke, but men making decisions about women's health care when they themselves may not fully understand what they're talking about, right?
Why would a man need to understand the different pills?
Right.
They wouldn't. Yeah.
They wouldn't. And so and I'm not saying that this is David Katz. I'm just using it as an example.
Awesome.
Because there are mistakes that well-meaning people can make. And yet when you're having a conversation about something, the difference is important. There isn't a distinction between the morning after pill and the abortion bill when you're having a conversation and when you're legislating something. And so if, for instance, there are people that think that they're the same thing, that's a problem. That is a huge problem. And so, I thought it was worth mentioning, and it will have to continue mentioning it because it doesn't matter that 50 freaking years passed. We had our rights taken away. That's ridiculous. Yeah. Finally,
by the way, go ahead. I was gonna. You did the Gavin Newsom story, right? But it was a different one that I thought you were gonna do. I thought you were gonna talk about how Gavin Newsom came at Sarah Huckabee Sanders following her State of the Union
response. What did he say? I'm sorry, I didn't catch it.
He tweets right after her speech. He says, while Huckabee touts public safety, here is what she skips over. Arkansas has one of the highest murder rates in the nation. But then a Democrat from Arkansas responded to Newsom. This is State Representative Andrew Collins of Arkansas. And he also posted a reply to Newsom. He said, 1, Huckabee Sanders has been governor less than a month. 2, there are drivers of crime like poverty, lack of education, lack of opportunity that Arkansas needs to fix in order to reduce violent crime. And they're generational and they aren't unique to Arkansas. And 3, don't trash my state.
There you go. Don't trash my state. Exactly.
Then maybe you have your governor not make your state such an easy target. How about that?
There you go. Exactly. But finally, I mean, I know the 2024, Kim, it's not that far away. Obviously, it's next year. And who's going to run for president? Well, apparently we're supposed to mark our calendar for this nonsense. You tell me. I mean, do you think that someone like Nikki Haley is going to be putting up much of a competition for DeSantis? Here she is. This is her big announcement. Am I sharing it? Yes. Okay, here we go.
America is the greatest force for good in human history, and we should never be ashamed to say that.
For those that don't have our back, we're taking names.
I wear heels. It's not for a fashion statement. It's because if I see something wrong, we're going to kick them every single time.
So there you go, 2/15/23. Apparently she's making the official announcement that she's running for president of the United States. Thoughts?
A lot of people that I know think she is the more reasonable choice for Republicans.
Okay.
That though she was in the Trump administration as ambassador to the UN, right? So she was part of his whole lineup, and had to kind of carry his water, as they say. I feel like a lot of people are thinking that she's not Trumpian, and that she kind of represents more of the moderate Republican, even-handed kind of situation. So
Well,
I
we'll
don't
have
know.
to see. I want to see that, talking about what Gavin Newsom was saying about, calling people out for who they are and what they say and what they do. I want to see more. I want to, after February 15th, when she makes her announcement, what are her talking points? What is her platform? Is it, still this, Biden's done nothing and, mandates? I want to know what your platform is before I think and put you under the reasonable category. I'm not ready to do that with any Republican. Sorry, it's just not happening yet. So we'll see.
You know who I think is going to run again is Mitt Romney.
Oh, you think he's going to really? I mean, I don't dislike the guy. I mean, he's a Republican, so I don't agree with him policy-wise. But as far as someone that he's disappointed me, don't get me wrong. He has disappointed me many, many times. I don't think that he's insane. And honestly, that's like the bare minimum when we're talking about a Republican candidate. So I don't know.
But not always has he disappointed. I mean,
no,
obviously his politics may not align with, what we believe, we collectively. But I think that when he came out yesterday and talked about his feelings about George Santos and having to, be a stand-up person to be in Congress, and that he shouldn't be there, and that he needs to be, ethics needs to toss him out, that he shouldn't be a representative in the United States House of Representatives. That kind of moral stand, I can respect and appreciate.
All right. Well, we'll see. I mean, I hope the field is crowded to crowd out former President Trump, because I just can't listen to that guy anymore.
Didn't Romney also vote to impeach Trump?
I believe that he did. I believe he was one of the votes. So yeah, he has that going for him. All right. We are going to switch gears. When we come back, I'm going to talk about Melanie Lynskey. I love her. She's in The Last of Us. I think last episode was her first, but it might've been the one before it. She's excellent. She's clapping back at a model who's calling out her character on The Last of Us. So we'll get into that. There's a Guinness World Record that has been broken by something that is absolutely terrifying to me. So I'll get into that as well. But right now, I want to welcome our friend, tax attorney Steve Moskowitz, to the show. AAA Tax Bill Moskowitz, LLP.com. And Steve, if there is one thing that I can always vote for, it's you being able to solve people's tax problems.
That's right. And also, I like to talk to people in a practical way. And I was speaking with a potential client just the other day, and she was entitled to about $900,000 from ERC. But guess what, Nikki? She decided she didn't want it.
Why?
It's what I said. She said, because she might get audited. And I said, so what? We would never do anything to which you're not legally entitled. And and sometimes people will say that to me. And I said, well, okay, do you drive a vehicle? Oh, sure. Well, do you realize no matter how good a driver you are, at some time in your life, a police person is going to pull you over and want to see your driver's license. A confrontation with organized law enforcement, someone with a helmet and a gun and a stick and all that stuff, and lots of friends with guns. And I say, are you going to stop driving your car because you might get pulled over someday? Well, no, of course not. And that's always the way I felt about audits. My entire career over the air, I've always said you should take everything to which you're legally entitled, no more and no less. So if I'm driving around and a police officer pulls me over, I'll say, good evening, officer. And I'll hand him or her my driver's license, registration, insurance. And he or she will go back to the car, check, make sure if I'm wanted for axe murder or something. And as long as there's no outstanding reasons why they should take me into custody, we'll talk about why they stopped me. Usually it's because it was a routine check or there was a vehicle like that or something. and or something, strange. One time a police officer asked me to get out of the car. I got out of the car, and he said, "Oh, excuse me, I asked you to get out because your driver's license said you were 6'8", and that's unusual. I wanted to see if you're really 6'8", and you are. That's okay.
How funny.
Let me go. No problem. I mean, I've always been reasonable.
How weird.
I probably could count on the fingers of one hand, and probably not all fingers in my life how many times I've been stopped by a police officer in my car. But there's a few times, no problem at all. I didn't have a problem with the officer. The officer didn't have a problem with me. We chatted, and I went about my way without a ticket. So, but that woman, she turned her back on $900,000, and she wouldn't listen to me. She hung up on me.
Oh, really? So she really left all that money?
Mm-hmm. Because she might get audited, and for the life of me.
Maybe she'd done some things in her taxes in
I
years past that were sketchy.
I mean,
Well,
that's really
I always ask that question, Kim, and she swore no. So, because when that happens, that's usually one of the first questions.
You don't pass up
okay, what are you covering up
$900K.
here?
Wow, that is insane.
And
Like
that's
if what you're
I'm saying
covering
is-
up is worth more than what you're about to get, then
Yeah.
Well, she claimed that her returns were clean. And if that's true, that happens sometimes. People don't take a benefit to which they're entitled because they're so terrified about being audited. And again, if you've done nothing wrong, so what? In almost all cases, we go to the audit for you anyway and say, well, here's the documents, here's this, here's that. But she turned her back on $900,000.
That's life-changing money. I mean,
there's a reason for that.
I don't know.
There's a story behind that.
Well, that's her loss. Either way, I mean, don't be afraid. And I love that you're using the police analogy, though, Steve, because I think people instantly think if they see the sirens behind them that they're in deep trouble and they're going to be in prison. And so, even if you feel like you see the light sirens of auditors or IRS, somebody else will take care of it. And as long as you're not doing anything wrong, and even if you are, you can help them out of any sort of tax jam, can't you, Steve?
We represent, we're defense attorneys. We're not judgmental. Whatever you may be accused of, we deal with it. And, we're here to get you a good result. And it's just such a and the 900,000 is just mind boggling. But throughout my whole career, lots and lots of people don't take things to which they're legally entitled because they're so afraid of being audited. Just like driving your car. If a police officer wants to see the driver's license, show it to them. So what?
Yeah.
Here you go.
Exactly.
If Steve says you're entitled to it,
Take
take
it.
it. It's yours.
Exactly.
Steve's not going to tell you to take something that doesn't belong to you. I'm sorry.
That's right. We really, my name's on that too. We really believe in it.
There you go. All right. So give Steve a call, 888 tax deal, MoskowitzLLP.com. That's 888 tax deal or MoskowitzLLP.com. Thanks, Steve.
guys.
We appreciate it. Bye.
Bye. That is unbelievable.
$900,000, Kim.
Give me all that money and I will take Steve Moskowitz.
I'll be like,
to
Steve's
court
gonna
with
give
me
it.
if I get audited.
If you tell me I'm not going to get audited and I have 900, I'm taking the 900K. I don't. There's something else going on there. I mean, maybe there isn't. Maybe they're that deathly afraid because I know. You probably know people like this.
You got a tax attorney that is willing to help you. These problems are not permanent.
Well,
right?
you have to convince somebody of that, and maybe they just fully don't believe it.
IRS, so it goes on for a little while. Steve fixes it for you, and you move on. It's not like it's drag on your life forever.
I know, but some people just don't believe it, obviously. Or there's something fishy going on. Who knows? We'll see. But anyways, give Steve a call. He'll figure it out for you. 888 tax deal, MoskowitzLLP.com. Tell him Nikki sent you. Okay, so let's get into Melanie Lynskey. Now, do you know who Melanie Lynskey is, my friend?
I don't. Mm-mm.
Yes, you do. You want me to show you a picture of her?
I do. I want to see a picture of her.
Okay, here she is. Oh, that's too far away. Here. She's the one on the left.
Oh.
You know who she is, right?
She's the one on the left. That
in yellow.
She looks like was she on Will and Grace?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't watch Will and Grace. She's
I
on Yellow Jackets. She's a well-known actress.
Okay.
The woman on the right is Adrianne Curry, who I believe was the very first winner of America's Next Top Model. Okay. She does modeling. She's really into the video gaming world, Comic-Con, things like that. So she's a celebrity. People know her. Anyways, she had quite the statement regarding Melanie Lynskey's a character on The Last of Us. And I didn't pull the picture of it. Okay, well, this is what it was. She put this on Twitter. Adrianne Curry wrote right there, you see it. Her body, pointing out this picture of Melanie. Her body says life of luxury, not post-apocalyptic warlord. Where is Linda Hamilton when you need her? So Linda Hamilton, Terminator, right? Badass,
totally buffed.
Yeah, kind of person.
She's saying this actress is too curvy or chunky to be in this role where you would be running for your life and not have access to food.
Well, also that, basically that you're not hardened. If you hear her talk on the show, she still uses her own voice where, Linda Hamilton was kind of like gruff and kind of had that attitude about her. She didn't. She was a teacher. So there's this whole debate. Now, I love Melanie Lynskey. Okay. I want to read this to you. This was her Twitter thread. And I swear to God, there are some Twitter threads where I just feel like I need to stand up and start clapping. And this was one of them. So this is what Melanie Lynskey wrote in response, of course, to Adrianne Curry's comment about that picture. And let me bring up the picture again, because she makes a point to say, this wasn't in style. This is not a costume that she's wearing on This Is Us. She's in a fashion magazine wearing a very pretty dress. Okay. So she said, other than getting to work with creative geniuses who I respect and admire, the thing that excited me most about doing The Last of Us is my casting suggested the possibility of a future in which people start listening to the person with the best ideas, not the coolest or the toughest person, the organizer, the person who knows where everything is, the person who's doing the planning, the person who can multitask, the person who's decisive. Women, and especially women in leadership positions, are scrutinized incessantly. Her voice is too shrill. Her voice is too quiet. She pays too much attention to how she looks. She doesn't pay enough attention to how she looks. She's too angry. She's not angry enough. I was excited at the idea of playing a woman who had, in a desperate and tragic time, jumped into a role she had never planned on having, and nobody else had planned on her having, and then she actually got done. I wanted her to look like she should have a notepad on her at all times. I wanted her to be feminine and soft-voiced and all of the things that we've been told are weak, because honestly, F that. I understand that some people are mad that I'm not the typical casting for this role. That's thrilling to me. Other than the moments after action is called, when you feel like you're actually in somebody else's body, the most exciting part of my job is subverting expectations.
Yep.
I mean, hands down, that is the best point. And she's badass on this show. I don't care that she speaks in her normal acting voice. There's no, it is literally, if you've ever seen her in other roles, it's the same type of voice, but she's a badass and people are listening to her. And I don't know. I thought that, and of course, Adrianne Curry is like, dude, I don't know why you're getting your panties in a bunch. I had, criticisms of other people as well, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I think that she makes a really good point about, and yes, it's a TV show, but just the significance of a character like that being listened to by men with guns, and they look to her for the cues and the leadership and things like that. And absolutely. Yes, Judy is correct. Ding, ding, ding. Adrianne Curry used to be married to Christopher Knight, Peter Brady. They did a reality TV show about it. Yeah, they were married for a bit. A bunch of you are mentioning that. David Odell also mentioned it. Apparently, she was in 2.5 Men. She played the a funny girl, a kooky girl. I don't know. I didn't watch that show that much.
There's another picture of Lynskey.
Yeah, she's really I love her in it.
She does look like a badass in that.
Oh, she totally is.
Yeah.
She has this scene with her former doctor that is just wow. But yeah, I thought that it's a great show. You still haven't watched it, right? It is violent, but it's really
about zombies and stuff. So maybe I'll have to check it out. I feel like sometimes it seems like this woman, Curry, who has made all of her money and her career off being stick skinny.
Yes.
Who has probably not had more than a handful of rice to eat every day for the last 10 years because she has to watch her body. And no, seriously, she's got to watch what she eats, everything that goes into her mouth, exercising, everything. Her whole life is revolved around her looks, her body, everything.
All right.
That maybe when someone else that didn't do that, that doesn't have to do that, has tremendous success or more success than she has had, maybe there's an anger there or a resentment that, well, we should all have to look like, the carbon copy. We should all have to look like the stick skinny girl, or you shouldn't belong in that part. I don't know.
Well, I'll say this. Adrianne Curry, while also a model, is, like I mentioned, very much into the comic book kind of worlds. She does kind of video gaming as well. And The Last of Us is based on a video game. So I think that she's trying to come at it, and I'm not trying to make excuses for her because I do think that likely her position is coming from her past. It's also when you're dealing with something beloved, whether it's a book or a video game, and it's being made into a movie or a TV show, people have their own ideas of what that character should look like. And when you deviate at all, people get very judgmental. Again, I'm not saying that she's right at all. But I do think that she really should let it go, and also not use terms that can be construed as fat shaming or something like that, because that's what basically like the lap of luxury. What, you have food to eat. It's not a hard line to draw between what we think Adrianne Curry meant and what she actually wrote in that comment. And it's a little disappointing. We should be lifting each other up, especially women lifting up other women. But yeah, she's getting vilified on social media for it.
If that's the thing, is that why would she feel that she needed to make a comment like that?
Yeah.
You might, if were so inclined to believe it, you might look at the picture and go, doesn't look like she's in a post-apocalyptic world or whatever it may be.
Right.
And then you move on. But you don't open up Twitter or however she made the comment. And you don't, publicly chastise someone for the way they look. That's the way it used to be done, but not anymore. There she is. She decided that it was a good time to just blast someone else. Why do you blast someone else unless you're angry or it's to make yourself feel better?
Yeah.
That's what I see through. When I see someone speak out against someone like that, that's why. That's why you would do that. Sad for her.
Yeah. And everyone's entitled to their own opinion, of course. I mean, we share our opinions here as well. And you can tell her to kick rocks and not listen to it or anything. But yeah, it's just disappointing. And honestly, if she watched the show with a fair eye and didn't come into it with preconceived notions, I think she should have applauded Melanie Lynskey's portrayal instead of, criticizing it, which is absolutely ridiculous. John Slade. I remember her from The Surreal Life. And then she got married to that Peter Brady guy. She always came off as shallow. Yeah, I mean, she's, I don't want to knock her. I don't know her. But they did get married for a while. Vilma doesn't like zombie movies either, Kim.
I hear you, Vilma.
Check out the series. I will tell you.
All right, Vilma, I'll make you a deal. Well, let's watch the first episode tonight. And Vilma, I will meet you back here tomorrow. And we'll. Oh,
that's a good idea.
All right?
Okay, I think you're going to be hooked.
You and me.
I think you're going to be really hooked after the first episode because it's great. Now, I'm not saying there's not shooting and things like that. Okay, I'm not saying that at all. But the first episode, if it doesn't hook you, I mean, then there's just no hope for you.
That's right.
Okay. It is definitely, because I remember my husband watched it before I did, and he was, have you seen The Last of Us? And I go, I don't know what that is, because I was in the hospital with my daughter.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I watched the first episode. You have to watch it because we're going to watch it together. And I'm like, okay. And I was hooked after the first. Yeah, I know. He's a keeper, isn't he? He's a keeper. Okay, I'm going to end with this one story. Talk about things that frighten you. That frighten you. Okay. What fears do you have? If you were going to be on a show, Kim, okay. Remember that show Fear Factor? Did you ever watch that show?
Yes.
Okay. So
that show freaked me out.
Right.
They're covered with spiders and they're covered with worms.
Or something, right? Or jumping from things or heights or whatever. If you had to pinpoint a fear, what would your fear be? Like, I don't want to have to jump in. I don't want to have to be in the cold. I don't want to jump from heights. I don't like spiders, snakes, whatever. What would you choose?
Spiders. hands down.
Spiders. Okay. So for me,
don't want them on me. Don't want them anywhere near me. Would never want to be locked in a small box with spiders crawling all over me. No.
See, the thing with spiders is, yes, they're scary. Last night I was moving stuff around and we had like camping chairs, and I opened them up to make sure that they were still not, holy or whatever. And a big black spider was right on the seat. And I was like, oh, not putting that in my car. Going to be putting that in the truck. But yeah, spiders, I don't like them. I don't like insects. I don't like creepy crawlies. But
if you told me that if I was to be locked in a box with spiders, nothing bad would happen to my children. Like, say you had
obviously
some type of horrible thing was going to happen to your child. I would go in the box and I would have the spiders crawl all over me.
Of course.
If it was just a spider situation with no other issues pending, no.
What about money?
No.
You wouldn't do it for money?
As Steve Moskowitz just reported, a woman leaving $900,000 on the table. You could pay me. You could say $3 million in the box with spiders, $10 million in the box with spiders, and I would say, I will not take your money.
Oh, you're full of crap. You were
no, I won't.
No, you were
not.
If they I'd call BS.
No, I'm not getting in the box. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Now I'm telling you, this is my biggest fear. Honestly, hands down. I mean, but if they were going to offer me $1 million, I would totally be in a box with it. And that is a mouse. I can't stand mice. Rats are in the same category. Yeah. I can't stand them. They, our old engineer, Karen Reed, would always make fun of me because there was one video, this was years ago, that I recorded, and she was cracking up because there was a mouse in my house. And it had we had a mouse problem, so we had like Clark come out and like take care of it. And what they did was they put out those sticky traps, which are terrible, by the way. And the mouse had gotten just its back foot stuck on it, so it's running around my kitchen alive, and I'm begging it. I take out my video camera for some stupid reason.
It's not hearing you,
and I'm like, please get out. Please get out. And I'm like, I'm running to the door and it's not going through the door. I'm like, please leave. And Karen would never let me live it down. She was cracking up in my video. I mean, it's blurry because you can't really see because I'm just begging this stupid mouse. I'm deathly afraid of mice. I hate them. I hate them. I mean, even talking about them gets me upset. But this one is a special one. This tiny California mouse now has the title after winning a Guinness World Record for longevity. Oh. It's named Pat after a Star Trek actor, Patrick Stewart. It received the Guinness approval yesterday as the oldest living mouse in human care at the ripe age of 9 years and 209 days.
How long do they normally live?
Oh, that's a very good question. Let me see.
Is that a mouse or a rat? That was a mouse.
That's
right?
a mouse. That is a mouse. That's a
Googling mouse lifespan. Let's see what it has to say.
It doesn't say in this article that I'm reading. So apparently, Pat was born at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park on July 14th, 2013, under a conservation breeding program. It's a Pacific pocket mouse. Weighs as much, get this, it weighs as much as 3 pennies.
Oh,
3 pennies. It's the smallest mouse species in North America, and it gets its name from cheek pouches the animals use to carry food and nesting materials. They once had a range stretching from LA south to the Tijuana River Valley, but the population plunged in 1932 because of human encroachment and habitat destruction. So they thought it was extinct, but then they started this breeding program, and this is the longest living mouse according to the Guinness Book of World Records.
So according to a website I'm looking at, a house mouse that you would typically see around your home can live anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. 6 months though closer to the average, but if they have ideal living conditions, plenty of food, water, no predators, then they can stick around for as much as 2 years.
No. Not long. Not that long in my house. I don't care. I'm sorry.
That's for a regular mouse. That's not for like whatever specialty.
Well, they're taking care of it, right? They're trying to make it alive. No, I don't. I will not go out of my way to kill any animal or insect. I will not go out of my way. But if you enter my zone, all bets are off. Sorry, all bets are off. Oh, don't know who's here.
I think you found a mouse.
Did
I
you
hope
find
you don't
a
have any
mouse?
mice in your new house. We'll see
Oh
how that
God, I
works
would be
out.
so upset. I would be so, but literally, I am deathly afraid. Deathly afraid of
I
mice.
don't care for them either, but I don't have the same
Oh no.
relationship with that fear that I do with spiders.
I remember I was in our old house, and again, it was just the same period of time. We had a mouse problem.
Yeah.
And I thought and so Clark came out and they said all these traps, not just the sticky ones, but the actual like traditional snap traps. And they put them in the food cupboards because they thought, if they come and try to nibble food. And I'll never forget one time I came out after getting ready for work and I go into the kitchen and maybe the noise that I was making, a snap went off in one of my closed cupboards and I left. I didn't even stay. I was like, and you get the whole entire house. I am out. Goodbye. And I
someone else check it.
Somebody else can. Oh, there's no way in hell I was checking it. Are you kidding me right now? No. I was telling my husband, I'm like, there's something there. I mean, it's just, I'm a chicken, man. I don't care. I'm proudly, deathly afraid.
So 2 things. First, my laundry's in the garage.
Okay.
And there's some type of opening up in the roof, I think. And so they sometimes get into the garage. So there are certain hours where I consider it my time to do laundry. And there are certain hours where I call it Ratville and I just decline to go out there.
No.
But also there's something going on behind my stove.
Oh,
so
no.
there must be an entry point because there's a vent nearby. And
Yeah.
I think they get in behind my stove. I have seen a rat in my kitchen before. Yeah. And so for a while, I lived with a rat trap on the back of my stove. And we got him, but it's still open there. And so it's still.
You got to foam it up. You have to close it up and put foam there. And then it blocks it.
We would have to pull out I think they're coming from under the house. So we would have to pull out because we did deal with the outside.
And that's the scary part.
We got to pull out the gas stove, by the way, which, pull it out.
Naughty.
Thing back there. I know. What a mess.
No, but JT wins the scary story. Are you ready?
Yeah.
My neighbor found a possum under her pillow in her bed alive.
Are you
That
kidding
is
me?
Absolutely ridiculous. I would have a heart attack. I think I would have. And possums, I know they're animals, but they've got that face that would scare the living bejesus out of me. Are you kidding me? Alive? How the hell did they not notice?
Okay.
No, thank you.
First of all, the pillow gets burned.
The house is burned. I'm like, bye. Apparently the possums live here now.
How does a possum get into your house? That's a big animal.
Well, I know it was right before. It was so funny. It was right before. So I have two really close best friends, and it was right the night before one of them getting married, and so we all had a slumber party at their house, and we're up drinking, and the bride went to bed, but we stayed up, and then all of a sudden we looked out, and there's a possum, but it's like a baby possum. It's like this big, like on the hallway. Okay. So what we think happened was it was outside and the dog brought it in, but it was playing possum, which is a real thing. And so it just kind of laid there pretending it was dead. Neither of us were brave enough to handle the possum. So we woke up the bride to be and we're like, you got to deal with something because neither of us were touching that damn. And she's like, and she's so funny. It was my friend Jen. And she's so funny. She's like, it's playing possum. And she just scooped that damn thing out and took it out into the trash. And we know it was alive. Because the next morning we went and it was gone. So
we talk about possums and how we want to get rid of them. But the one time I hit an animal with my car, it was a possum that ran across the road. And I must have been like 21-ish.
Right.
And I hit it and I knew I hit it. I had an old Mustang and I just barreled right over this thing, which was good because you're not supposed to swerve and hit parked cars on the side of the street. I pulled over and I must have spent, I don't know, a half an hour shaking and crying because I killed a living creature.
Yes.
Horrible. So while I don't like possums, I also don't want them to die.
I do not go out of my way to kill living things. Now, if it's a mouse in my house and I know that you're there, all bets are off. I'm sorry. I am not living like this. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen.
There was a possum in my mom's garage once and it hissed at us. Get away. I'm like, okay, we're just going to leave the door open and let it go on its own.
You can do whatever you need to do. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Before we end the show, that's it.
It's over already?
click the thumbs up. We have a great Friday show tomorrow. You know who's coming on our show tomorrow?
Who?
Not only Tim Stika talking Friday movies, Brian Copeland is going to join us.
Awesome.
I'm really excited about this conversation. I don't know if you guys saw this article. I'll tease it a bit. Apparently that movie, You People, that Tim Sika had talked about, I have seen. It's hilarious. Brian saw it. I noticed when I was watching that movie, one thing wasn't happening between the love interests, and that was kissing. They were supposed to be like madly in love, but they never kissed except at the end of the movie. And now we find out that kiss didn't actually happen. So I wanted to talk to Brian about the movie because it's about interracial marriage and all those sorts of things. And also, you know, for a movie that's trying to talk about race relations between, you know, two different worlds, the fact that there was a director's choice to not have the actors kiss, I just wanted to have a conversation about that. So that's coming up tomorrow. Also, I'm going to make some sort of appetizer or something to eat during Friday food that we would want on Super Bowl Sunday. What?
And I will tell you that I'm working on getting an amazing Hawaiian musician to come on the show. His name is Steven Espanola. He is an award-winning falsetto artist from Hawaii, and he actually lives in the Bay Area, but hopefully we'll be able to get him on for Aloha Friday, sing us some music. And so he's also an amazing ukulele teacher. So if you have a ukulele, bring it, because we might get a little lesson.
I know my daughter has one around here somewhere. Hopefully I could find it. I think I can find it. So I'm going to try to learn something as well. So hopefully that is happening tomorrow. We're working on that. So great Friday show. Again, donate to our Patreon by going to the NikkiMedoroShow.com. Our PayPal email address is there as well, theNikkiMedoroShow@gmail.com. Pick up some merch. Tell your friends, your family. Please help out and spread the word about this show so we can keep it up and running. And until tomorrow, bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.